What's up, everybody? Well, I got another small form factor PC gameplay video for you guys today, and today we're gonna check out the Outer Worlds 2, and hopefully we won't get a random shutdown. Oh, seems like my pizza's about time to come out of the oven. I don't think finishing up this intro is gonna burn it or anything like that, though, as long as I don't fuck up and do like 10 tries, but that almost never happens. Either way, we'll go in, we'll try playing it native. I don't think it'll go very well, but not everybody even cares about, getting 60 and all that stuff, but it might not even hit 30. And after that, we'll try messing with some DLSS, and if we still can't get playable FPS, maybe I'll try turning it all the way down to 1440, which is what I would play it anyway. You can kind of just emulate that by turning it to balanced DLSS anyway, so. Now, I'd say it's about time to get into the game, well, as soon as mine's done patching, but luckily, as long as you have a pretty fast SSD, it patches quite fast. So, we're gonna start off just maxed out. We'll try DLAA, which is just using anti-aliasing. But it does use probably a little bit more performance to do that than if we were to just say, hey, no DLSS at all, just play this shit with no anti-aliasing, obviously. Or just with the game's built-in anti-aliasing. But I still think it looks better than stock, so I think most people in the video cards would use DLAA if they could. So that's why I do that, if anybody was curious. But now, let's get into the game, let's see what it can do, and then we'll go and probably turn on some DLSS and lower the settings and all that stuff in a little bit.
Be advised. Physiological cues indicate acute cantankerousness. All teammates. Your Valkyrie unit requires service. Teammate help. Agent vitals have fallen below acceptable parameters. Health benefits available at your request. System failure. Standing by for.
So now, the only way I found to get like mostly over 60 FPS here was to go all the way down to performance DLSS, which is in reality only 1080p, I do believe, with a base resolution of 4K. But we are still maxed out, and I think it mostly stays over 60. But there are some times where it still drops into the 50s, I do believe. I think you'd have to drop it down to high with DLSS, which is what I end up doing to get decent FPS. Although, It might also be fine if you just drop it down to high. We'll see. Either way, let's get some gameplay.
I heard that.
Ready to assist with agent help.
Huh. Well, at least it's not shooting the water anymore.
But now, more than ever, we must all do our part to maintain it. Keep doing your job with pride. Keep informing on your neighbors. Same as ever. But prudence dictates we give it a little extra added zeal for now.
Did you hear? They're letting anyone who wants to train at the Arbiter's facility.
But the paradigm says we're to spend our lives in our predetermined profession.
I was sad for a moment because my house got submerged in the flooding. Then the wireless told me everything was better. Oh, I feel much better.
So, we're going to keep it on DLSS performance, but here's the settings I've decided to go with. Instead of just putting everything on just high, I figured screw it. I'll fiddle around for a little bit. Since we got plenty of VRAM, we can plop those textures up as high as we can go. And then most other stuff high. Shadows, great way to get your FPS back. Almost every game I've tested, if you just turn shadows down from high or ultra down to medium, it usually gets you like 10, 15 FPS. I don't think it was quite that much in this game, but it was still like 5 or 6. So I'll take it. And it doesn't look that much different.
Well, it's infected. Redstone arrives soon.
I wish everyone's neighbor Prudence was my actual neighbor. Except my domicile is presently underwater.
You walked in here under your own steam and appear reasonably free of cuts, burns, or weeping lesions. So, I assume you're presently devoid of mortiferous injuries. Good. Because we've got more of that than we can handle. You haven't heard? When antis invaded, they broke the seawall, flooded nearly half the town below, where most of the domiciles were. A number of our subjects drowned. Others got concussed, or even crushed. A few were electrocuted or exposed to caustics. Took a while for our water purifier to catch up, so some drank tainted water, which is not good for you at all. I'm glad it's working again. All right, well, don't let me keep you.
And the sovereign embodies and executes on it. Throughout history, human societies were constantly out of balance. Individualism ran rampant. Depletion of resources and lack of community led to terrible suffering. Poor tears didn't have the firm, benevolent hand of the sovereign.
Almost missed the routine certitude of my assigned profession.
Enjoy the full luxury the paradigm affords us. A perfect life of contentment and plenty. We have community, purpose, time for recreation. Sleep well at night. Isn't stressless or stressful. Food is nutritious and plentiful. We have everything we need. Prudence dictates we take a moment to rightly appreciate it all and thank the sovereign. The pleasant atmosphere and rich.
Prudence dictates that we watch our... our neighbors, but I may just invite him over to make it easier.
To govern it, the matriarch, working with and through the sovereign, devised the paradigm. If each of us does our
I inhaled so much dust and debris.
how invasive species can unbalance even the most robust ecosystem, like those nettlesome
The
raptors.
wireless said that flooding Westport is routine maintenance to remove the dust that had been building up in our door frames.
Sovereign really does think of everything.
Resilient. The system
Well, alright, let's get some camera recorded gameplay now. Cool. What do we got? What do we got? That might come in handy later. Is there really nothing else to do on this thing I hacked? Restricted area. Yeah, if I go in there, I will die. Yep, yep. What the fuck? Where'd it go? Oh. There he is.
Entering a confrontational state.
Well, we're fucked. We got too much poison. Yeah, so who I'm looking for is in there. I just gotta find him. Alright, what was their name? That'll help. Oops. Wrong button. Alright, so... Well, just remember Charlie or Ida. Alright. If you see anybody that name, get him.
Visitors, huh? Just meandering about, free of any appointed minder? Not so sure I ought to be speaking with you. If you need someone to talk to hereabouts, I suggest you seek out Vigilant Hogar. That tall, stately building back yonder is his domicile. Do hate to come off impolite. If you're so inclined, we can pick this up later, after you two confabulate. Apologies, but I don't believe I should be discussing such matters with you without permission. Once you report to the Vigilant, I'd be happy to speak freely. Word to the wise, despite what you might hear, we still consider ourselves part of the Protectorate. Anyone spots an outsider engaging in misdeeds might just open fire.
Simply saying I'd rest easier if he'd been assigned to it. Originally. That generator goes? Stranger?
Greetings. It is my esteemed pleasure to welcome you to Westport, once a shining testament to Protectorate excellence. Now a picturesque example of the evils of corporatism. But where are my manners? We do not have much, but please let me offer you some victuals. Dut. I insist. Serving Unit 1. Something for the visitor at once?
Confirmative.
Perhaps you're wondering why I'd open my arms thusly for a stranger. Simple. As the guiding light for humankind, we always put our best foot forward, regardless of circumstance. I believe something still can be done. This town can be saved, its people given a reprieve, were we to acquire the one thing vital to our existence: automech parts. What?
Comestibles, sir.
We of the Protectorate pride ourselves on our mech programming. Among the Vigilant, it is even considered something of a sport. We are not miracle workers, however. Without parts to work with, we've no hope of remaking our mechs to do tasks beyond their initial functions. We need repair mechs, domestic mechs, not combat ones. Serving Unit 1 here is about as much as can be accomplished without replacement parts. We are of like minds. We lack not the skill to do so. Our wily chief mechanist can reprogram the mech, but not without parts. Unfortunately, we lack ready availability.
And that's where I come in, correct?
Why, we're traitors, obviously. We've not fulfilled our duties as members of the Protectorate. It is incumbent upon us to fight to the death, yet we still live, as does our enemy. Now, either the Arbiters arrive to execute us, or this place falls under the vapid boot heel of Auntie's choice. No matter who wins, we cannot sustain ourselves here for long. These fine and decent folk don't deserve having their lives thrown away on account of my failures. If I can return the settlement to a reasonable facsimile of its previous glory, sufficiently functioning by employing mechs reprogrammed to repair and rebuild, the arbiters might see fit to penalize only me, commute the others' sentences, allow them to maintain things around here in the spirit of continuity and such. Hence my use of the term reasonable facsimile. I owe it to every single person here to try. That's abundantly kind of you, though there must be something I can offer. Enough to lead and inspire those who work there, once at least. I was previously the ranking vigilant on this island. Why do you ask? Difficult place to saunter into. Station's off limits to anyone without the highest security clearance. For anyone lacking reason to be there, it's assured suicide. In exchange for the automech parts we need, I can provide you means to get inside.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Dream of such a proposal in days of reason and quietude. Yet such is the here and now we find ourselves in.
Yeah.
Wonderful. My unavoidable march to the gallows feels lighter already. At least now my subjects will have a fleeting chance. The parts can be found at the Euphoria Coast Automech Repair Center to the south. But do not, under any circumstances, tell those stationed there why you need them. To get inside, you will need an access pass from the Ministry of Accuracy. Since we have all been marked as traitors, I cannot create one for you here. Farewell now.
Literally everything I own is underwater.
Outside.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot. And I'm sure some people are curious. I completely forgot because it's just a damn toggle switch. I bet some people want to see what happens when you turn on hardware ray tracing with the same settings I use. There we go. I would like to apply them now, yes. I thought I hit X, but apparently not. So I'm glad things double warn you like that. That's probably how I get into trouble. No, not quit. Now we're outside and about. I don't see a humongous difference in, what do you call it, lighting and all that stuff. But that's just me. Maybe other people can. But it's not like it makes it unplayable either. Or at least from the small amount I see here. It sure looked like when the game came out, turning ray tracing on turned everything into a complete starter fest, but there was like a 3 gig update that I had to do today. Which I kind of was hoping for, because I think all the other things, like Monster Hunter Wilds and like all the other games that didn't run quite well, like Borderlands 4, I think I tested those out after they already had like some updates and shit. But no, see, we're already getting quite a bit more frame time skips. So no, I think that's where most people are probably getting their frame time. It still doesn't look as bad as people were portraying, though. But maybe this area just isn't that bad. I'm not sure. Nope, you see nothing. There's no one here. There we go. That's more of what I was thinking. That kind of stutter. Still not as bad as how it was, though. I think I would just leave it off, though. I think it was smoother frame times with no ray tracing, and I don't think the ray tracing is good enough to warrant adding stutters into the game, but that's just me. Obviously, it's still a choice, and it's not like it makes the game completely unplayable. I think that update probably gussied up quite a few things. Although, who knows? Maybe it was stuttering like that and I didn't notice with it off, too. But I don't think so. And at least it's not doing it constantly all the time. But every once in a while, it sure does. Alright, let me guess. You guys aren't going to just be walking here, are you? I'm just going to walk past anyway. I think I came past here before.
Careful of friendly fire if you head down past the farm. Last time we wandered past, they opened fire on us.
Well, fuck that. I'll shoot him in the face.
This unit commends the commander on forgoing all other human camaraderie in order to focus on the mission.
That's me. Yeah, let's see if you spin around in circles, because I remember I did this a bunch before. So we got one stutter, but it's not like it's doing it a bunch. But I don't think it did the stutter before when I did that, because I jumped around and ran around in circles quite a few times. Even on the weaker stuff, I don't remember it doing that. Maybe on the Steam Deck or something like that, but never really got out here, so Steam Deck probably would have been in the 20s at the settings I was running at. You'd probably have to use really aggressive upscaling. And if the CPU, since it also actually looks like it's somewhat CPU intensive, that probably would not help you. Once you get to a certain thing, you'll be okay and be like, hey, wow, I get more FPS here, but then you'll go over to that other place you were getting bad FPS and it'll still be the same, if not worse. But yeah, I don't think we were getting those big hiccups before. So, me, personally, if it's going to do that even on my 5090, I'm just going to play with ray tracing off. Because I'd rather have smooth frame times and no ray tracing than have it do that. But who knows, maybe it'll be a little smoother there. Or maybe it'll stutter more there. We don't know. Just because it's more powerful, it will definitely get more FPS. There's no doubt about that. But whether or not it'll stutter more or not, I'm not sure. We're going to find out, though. Either way, I think that's probably more than good. So let's go ahead and wrap up. Well, alright guys, that's a wrap for the Outer Worlds 2. And you can get some playable FPS as long as you don't just max everything out. But you do need some help from DLSS if you want to play at 4K native. Or not 4K native, 4K base. That's why I always say this is a 1440p GPU. Now, even on balance, it still was only hitting in the 50s. It would hit 60 every once in a while, but it was dropping in the 50s a whole lot too. Which is fine for some people, but some people are very adamant. I will not let it drop below 60, screw that. And that's kind of how I am, more powerful. So that's why I thought the way I was headed out. If this was my only PC, that's how I'd play. Although, I'd sit at a desk with this if this was my only PC. I would not want to play this kind of game with controller if I didn't have to, but I'm just being nice to my knees and my back today and just sucking it up and having zero aim and just trying to suck it up and get a little bit better with controller. It's always good practice. But anyway, that is all for this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, because I sure as hell enjoyed making it for you guys. And until the next video, peace out, guys.